Welcome to another episode of Chat Sports Talk. You don't know, my name's Chad. I take a dive on sports. And welcome to my Week 1 recap / Eliminator video for the college football season. That's right, the 5 fun-filled days of football action has been completed. Have some amazing games that happen over these days. I'll go over the ones I picked, kind of had a little bit of the ones I kind of mentioned, and then I'll go over my Eliminator. But before I dive into all that nonsense, if you could, go ahead, smash that thumbs up button, especially like the content provider really pleases you two guys. So help the channel out. You can also subscribe. I check my analytics. I love you guys review my work. I love you all for doing that. Not many of you subscribe. It costs you a dime. Helps me provide more entertainment value for you. Now we'll go back and cover the week 1. Actually, overall, now looking at my notes over here, I went 7-3 in the 10 games I picked. The other 6 games, I went 2-4. That were just I kind of highlighted, but didn't really say these are my picks. So yeah, a kind of a mixed bag if you put them all together. But at the 10 games I did pick, I mean, I was pretty good on a lot of those. A couple of them I did not see the way they went at all. Even though I did pick the winner, but I didn't see one game get completely blown out like they did. But anyways. We'll go over the 2 Thursday night games first. That was the renewal of the backyard brawl between West Virginia and Pitt, and that did not disappoint at all. These kids don't know the history. They haven't met, but they accepted that the whole tenacity of it, and it was a phenomenal game. All around, and it looks like Pitt has actually kind of retooled a bit, so it looks like the part will be a good deciding factor in the ACC. How that holds up, I don't know, but they did have 308 passing yards overall, but their defense did cough up 190 yards rushing, so yeah, kind of tit for tat going on for there. So it's Pitt rushing was actually more scored more than the passing attack, so you got that one kind of going off. But it came down to the wire. West Virginia was throwing the ball, and controversy kind of surrounded that one, whether it was a catch or not. Now, not being a professional referee, just a football fanatic, I do agree that it was a no catch. It did appear maybe his hands were underneath the ball, but it looked like his hands were more on the side. The ball hit the turf. It moved in his hands. He did not maintain control, thus an incomplete pass. Now, I do know there's a lot of going back and forth that was a catch because his hands are underneath. It didn't look like his hands are underneath. I think it's just one of those, there wasn't enough evidence to overturn, and that's what we have to go with. That's part of the love and hate relationship you'll have with the instant replay. But these two did not disappoint whatsoever in terms of going back and forth and hate, and there's some targeting penalties coming out there, so they're definitely embracing that. But I did pick Pitt, so they ended up winning at home. And then we'll go to Penn State and Purdue. Go with Penn State winning Purdue, but I thought it would be close, and I wouldn't be surprised if Purdue won it. And Purdue was leading at the end, and they were a very dominant team. I think Penn State got lucky, had that phenomenal drive at the end of the game that just won it for them. So for me, it's definitely a team that's definitely going to look like on the rise. Clifford was an amazing day. He had 4 passing touchdowns. So I think Penn State passing attack looks pretty good. The defense looks decent, even though they coughed up a lot of points. Same thing with Purdue. But I think both of these programs will make some noise in the Big Ten. Maybe upset a few teams down the road, but I was able to edge up that one. And then going over the Saturday action, Cincinnati, Arkansas. Cincinnati gave Arkansas all they could handle, but it wasn't enough as the Razorbacks ended up winning. In Atlanta, Georgia just blew out Oregon. The former defensive coordinator for Georgia, now the head coach of Oregon. You get Bo Nix come over from Auburn, get away from Georgia, only for him to go back to Georgia and get smacked around once again. Oregon just looked so out of place. I have a feeling they will rebound, but yeah, they definitely took a huge black eye with this one. Utah heading down to the Swamp. I thought the Utes were going to win that one, and they could have if they weren't picked off at the very end in the end zone. It came down to that play. I didn't think Florida was that good just yet. We'll see if they can maintain that momentum moving forward. Ohio State, Notre Dame, I knew was not going to be a blowout by the Buckeyes. The Irish actually had the lead for a little bit at 10-7, and they maintained a very strong presence throughout, and it was just they were hanging in there, but I think the defense just finally gave out, and Ohio State was able to just squeak out and win 21-10, so they won by 11, not 17 like they were favored. So you took Notre Dame for the points. You would won. Congratulations. I said they were not, they weren't going to get blown out like that. I said it would probably be like a late, Notre Dame would cough it up towards the end and end up losing by 10 to 14 points, and they lost by 11. So, but I knew they weren't going to win that one. So Mississippi State was way too much for Memphis. I knew that one going in there. One I definitely got wrong was Boise State, Oregon State. I really thought Boise State can go in there and take it to Oregon State. They seem to do pretty good when taking on the Pac-12 schools. But Oregon State was not having any of that. They jumped up early, 24-0 at the half, and never looked back. Boise State tried to make it a little bit of a game, but they were just too far behind to really mount any sort of really reliable comeback, even though Green was their highlight for the Broncos. Had 102 yards and 2 TDs on the ground. But Oregon State was just way too much, and that notched a second loss for me. And then Sunday night, what a flippin' game that was. For LSU, there's a lot of things they got to work on. Special teams is a big problem they had. Muffed 2 returns and giving the ball over to Florida State and turning the points. Blocked field goal. LSU was just giving the Seminoles everything they could possibly wish for in terms of trying to blow them out. But Florida State couldn't really capitalize too much. They gambled way too much. They just left points, side to go, 4th and goal, go for it, instead of taking the 3 points, which could, save the end of the game drama they had. So I think in some things, Florida State it was, risk it for the biscuit type of scenario. That doesn't always work. But LSU, at the very end, came back with 1 second remaining. They had one play at the end of it. They scored a touchdown. Extra point to tie it. That's an overtime. 2-point play would have won it. Brian Kelly decided to be conservative and you just go for the 1. The extra point was blocked. It's how many times you say that? It's hardly ever is extra point blocked. You hear more of it being they missed it. I'll go over one of those scenarios later. And it was just a disappointing, heartbreaking loss for LSU. Florida State, a huge marquee win to get them 2-0 the season. We'll see if they can continue that momentum into ACC play and see what happens there. But the first game of Brian Kelly's tenure at Baton Rouge, in a disappointment. And sorry, LSU fans, expect more of it. And I'm a Notre Dame fan. I'm speaking from experience. And then Monday night action, Clemson and Georgia Tech. Clemson struggled early offensively. Georgia Tech defense was actually getting in the backfield a lot. But it was just too much sustained action by Clemson, and just after a while, it finally broke out. Shipley was the offensive powerhouse than the quarterback. I'm not going to try to butcher his name. Shipley ended up having 2 rushing touchdowns, so And just towards the end, Clemson just opened up the floodgates. And it was just a blowout at the end. But early on, it was pretty close. And 14-3 at the half. Georgia Tech going, okay, we're somewhat in a good place. We could probably, resurrect this and then just get completely destroyed in the second half. But that just seems how things kind of go. So I am going 7-3, 9-5 overall, so not too bad. The games I kind of called Illinois, Indiana. I picked Illinois. A little bit of a Illini fan as well. They had it, but they coughed up a last-minute drive by the Hoosiers, and that was it. SMU in North Texas. I thought North Texas was going to upset SMU. SMU put the smackdown on Mean Green. I mean, that wasn't even close. Army, Coastal Carolina. I thought Army could go in there and knock off Coastal Carolina, and I don't think they would be able to retool as quickly as they did. They were able to quite handily beat Army. Arizona went into their brand new Snapdragon Stadium over there for San Diego State and beat the Aztecs to a pulp. Where was this team last year? De Laura had 4 passing touchdowns, almost 300 yards. I mean, it was just the defense was all over him. I mean, Burmester couldn't even get. He only had 51 yards passing. That's how bad Arizona beat San Diego State in a brand new stadium. And I don't know if the Aztecs can recover from that one. James Madison won their FBS debut against Middle Tennessee. It wasn't even close. And a game between UTSA and Houston was a lot closer than I thought it was going to be. UTSA definitely has some talent I was not completely aware of, and actually had an early lead on the Cougars, leading 17-7 heading to the fourth quarter. But the defense just coughed up too much as the Houston scored 17 in the fourth, and tying the game and sending it into overtime. And that's where Houston was able to come out on top in the third overtime frame and win it 37-35. But credit to the Roadrunners. I wrote them off early. They may make some more noise later on, so we'll see kind of how that one plays out. And a couple other fascinating games happened in North Carolina. North Carolina ends up to Boone, North Carolina, take on the Mountaineers of Appalachian State. And UNC was all over them early. App State actually got up to early, 14-7 after the first. But it was just a 34-point spread, 34-7 scoring between the next two quarters that just looked like North Carolina was in control. Au contraire, mon frère. App State decided to, you know what? We're tired of playing around. So they started playing football, and it was just, they were just scoring left, right, and center. They ended up putting 40 points on the board in the fourth quarter. Combined, this is like 1 point shy of the FBS record for most points scored in a fourth quarter. And there were 62 points in the fourth quarter by both teams. 40 of them went to Appalachian State. It was crazy. There was a touchdown they scored that they were trying to go, okay, let's go to 2 points, get that 1 point lead, and force it. And then when they didn't get that, went for onside kick. And there were some blocks on that sprung the returner all the way to the touchdown. Then App State just ended up scoring 2 more times. And it had to have a 2-point play to tie it. Send overtime. Bryce tried to get in there, missed it, fumbled like at the 1 yard line, and that was it. North Carolina holds on, wins. I mean, Bryce had 361 yards, 6 touchdowns in this game. I mean, that is just ridiculous. May was also no slouch at 352 yards passing, 4 TDs. So these two offenses look like they're going to be a force to be reckoned with to kind of watch out for. And then we go on the other side of the state, over there in Greenville, North Carolina. East Carolina is playing host to 13th ranked, preseason ranked in the APs. NC State. And NC State was pretty dominant in the first half, going up 21-7, but East Carolina would not go away. They kept clawing back. The fourth quarter, they had a touchdown, had an extra point to tie. Missed it, left. And then they set up a game-winning field goal. He missed it. Right. I feel sorry for the kicker. I really do, because he had two opportunities to put his team on top and actually win, knock off a ranked opponent, knocked off their rival, and missed it out. And NC State escaped East Carolina with 21-20 victory. So, like I said, amazing week one action. So that kind of lets you know how things are going. So let's go ahead and pull up the Eliminator. Now there's, it's kind of early, kind of really kind of get rid of schools already, but if you look at some of the mid-majors, most of them you could pretty much go ahead and go, yeah, these guys are going to be done for the season. So with that being said, let's just go ahead and pull it up. Remember, these are all pretty much in alphabetical order, and I've already pre-marked them anyways. I really know Charlotte was already out anyways. They're already 0-2. Army's lost to Coastal Carolina, knocks them out. Buffalo's lost to Maryland. Ball State's lost to Tennessee. Bowling Green to UCLA, and Central Michigan also losing, all end up getting eliminated. I left App State in there because how they hung in with North Carolina. So we'll kind of see how that one kind of plays out. Same thing with Cincinnati and East Carolina. These guys put up some great defenses to keep their hopes alive, because it's a quality loss. I mean, that's not something you really want to say, but it's definitely one of those quality losses that could keep them in there. Next group, you already know Hawaii. James Madison already out. James Madison's brand new to FBS, so they're not eligible for the playoff. And then FAU lost to Ohio. Kent State was no match, and their opponent there was Georgia State. Not really going much in there. Illinois, I almost got rid of, but I think with some of the Power 5 schools, I have to at least get them to 2 losses. But I think Illinois is right on the cusp. Losing that game to Indiana does kind of hurt them a bit. So we'll kind of see how they rebound next week. And looking at the next group, and New Mexico State, we already knew was going to be gone. North Texas getting blown out by SMU, kind of got rid of that one. Louisiana Tech lost to Missouri. Navy got beat by Delaware. If you lose to FCS school, you're not eligible for the playoffs. Sorry, midshipmen, but stay out to sea. And, of course, Middle Tennessee also got eliminated after losing to James Madison. Now we look at next group. UConn's already gone. UTEP was gone. So now we throw in Temple after they got blasted by Duke. Troy lost. UMass lost to Tulane. Louisiana Monroe had no chance against Texas. Tulsa lost to Wyoming. Utah State got blown out by Alabama. Texas State lost. My left UTSA in there because of how they lost in overtime to Houston. So there's some life there for the Roadrunners. We'll see how that season plays out for them. And then the last group, you already know Wyoming's out after losing to Illinois. Western Michigan lost. Virginia Tech lost to Old Dominion for the second time in 4 tries. I'm sorry, Hokies, but even though you're a one-loss Power 5 school, losing Old Dominion, I can't have you hanging around. We'll see how that one kind of plays out. So it's going to be interesting to see how the rest of the season progresses as schools continue to play. There's a couple of them that could fall out pretty quickly, so we'll kind of see how that plays out. But that's that. That is the Eliminator. A handful more schools already gone. First part of the season. moving forward, we'll kind of look at that. I'll get the week 2 matchups out to you this Friday. I will not be worrying about any Thursday games, so if any key matchups play Thursday, I won't be covering those. It's just, I'll have to do because, I got a lot of other things kind of planned out for the week, so I gotta make some room. But let me know what you think about last week. When you think about that West Virginia-Pittsburgh game, I understand it's going to be like a 50-50 split about that catch. But, there's not much you can do when there's not really enough visible evidence on the replay to really overturn it. That's that. Do you think Notre Dame would bounce back and be more competitive towards the rest of the season? They still got key games against Clemson and USC. So we'll kind of see how Notre Dame plays out. You think Ohio State is not worthy of that top 4 selection? I mean, what do you think about, App State, East Carolina's near losses? Just let me know in the comments down below. Once you're there, you can also hit that thumbs up. Once again, you can also share this video with your friends and family. Once you hit that subscribe button, make sure you click that bell. That'll let you know next time we post a video. And I will see you next time on Chat Sports Talk.